There's a lot of confusion today in society about men and their emotions. Men are confused, women are confused. And in society, it's a very common belief that men should express their emotions. And the reasons being because men suppress their emotions so much, and that's a big contributing factor towards the high suicide rates and depression that men suffer from. And I don't believe this is true. I'm going to get into the video why I think it's actually largely misunderstood, this idea that men should always express their emotions, why it's incorrect that this is a contributing factor towards the mental health problems that they suffer, and why traditionally men do suppress their emotions, or why men have this idea that they shouldn't express their emotions. So, firstly, Mal, I want you to imagine, as a man, go back into caveman times, or hunter-gatherer times, and we as the men, we would have had to have gone out and hunt for the food, protect the perimeters of the camps, etc. And sometimes going out and searching for food, searching for new lands, take days at a time, maybe weeks. It's very difficult, conditions were tough. Sometimes you're hungry, physically exhausting, you're going to get hurt. You might come across other tribes, you might get into battles, you might have a tough job hunting down the animals, etc. And imagine now you're one of those guys, you're doing the job with the other boys, and you're starting to get really pissed off about this. You're starting to get angry, you're starting to get fed up, you start getting emotional, you start bitching and moaning to all the other guys in the tribe that are on this journey with you. You start crying, you start breaking down. Can you imagine the reaction of those other guys? They're not going to put an arm around your shoulder and be like, yeah, man, this is good, express yourself, this is going to help you mentally. No, you're a burden to those guys. You're going to piss them off. They're not going to want you around. Hell, they probably maybe back then would have even killed you off because you were such a burden to them. Or imagine you're going into war and you're on the front lines, and war is brutal. War is absolutely brutal. And you're there on the front lines, in the ditches, crying, complaining all the time. What's that going to do to the other men around you? Again, going to piss them off. Morale's going to go down. You're going to be that guy no one wants around. And so on and so forth. I can give you many examples of this. And this is why, so we understood as men, we evolved to realize that men are the ones that have to go out. Okay, you look at it from a survival standpoint. We had to go out, we had to hunt, we had to go to war, etc. So we understood that we couldn't go out and do that stuff and be emotional. We couldn't express our emotions all the time. We had to suck it up. Otherwise, we're going to piss everybody off around. The morale's going to go down, or someone's going to bloody kill us. So we had to learn to control those emotions. And women evolved to like men who could control those emotions. They didn't like the emotional men, because why? Because like I said, those guys were not part of the tribe. They'd be cast aside, they'd be killed, they'd be that guy in the tribe that nobody likes, no one wants around. That's not going to be attractive for the women. So women have also evolved to not like emotionally immature men. Even though you hear so often about women wanting men and wanting guys who are in touch with their emotions and so on, and I've heard this countless and countless times. Men do that, they express those emotions, they feel they can let it go around women, and you know what? Those women end up being really turned off by it. And they leave the guy, or they dump him, or stop having sex with them so often, and so forth. So that's where one of the reasons why we've evolved to suppress a lot of our emotions. Now, there's no doubt that expressing your emotions in the moment, talking about your feelings, does make you feel better. There's a lot of research on that. It makes you feel psychologically better. I know it from experience as well. Everyone knows it. When you talk about things that are bothering you, you express yourself, you feel better, you feel like you've got a load off your chest. Now, there's no research to suggest, though, that holding in and bottling up emotions and whatnot, and your feelings and your thoughts, leads to depression and leads to suicide. There's no actual research about this. Jordan Peterson I remember him pointing this out in a podcast. There's no literature on this suggesting that not talking, not expressing things, it is leading to these problems. At the end of the day, you've got to have the problems first to be able to express these issues. But talking about things, expressing emotions, does make you feel better in the moment. Now, this is where I feel, as men, the practice of stoicism comes into play, the practice of controlling your emotions. You see, as I've learned to do that as I've gotten older, the pride, the sense of pride you feel, if you control your emotions around you, you have an emotional moment, I don't know what the occasion is, whatever it is, as long as it's something that's not, it's not, your best friend just died in a car crash or something, you just got the news or whatever, then anyone's going to understand you breaking down and crying, or you God forbid, your kid dies or something, of course. But I'm talking about more everyday things, the stress of life. The more you control your emotions, once that time passes and you come out the other end of it and you were the rock for yourself, you were the rock for other people, the pride you feel in yourself for that far supersedes the initial momentary pleasure that you get, the momentary release and the release of endorphins and feel-good factor that you have if you express your emotions in those moments. Trust me on that. And what happens, you learn to control these emotions. And over time, what you get better at is an understanding of when is a good time to express myself. And when should I hold it in? When should I suck it up? Man up. You get better at that over time. You realize you're in control. You're in control of how you express yourself. If you don't practice that, you're just a child. What are children? Children have no control over the expression of their emotions. They're at a whim to the emotions. They feel upset, they cry. They feel angry, they express that anger. They're happy, you see it, it's great. But if we have that as men, and this is what's happening now in younger generations, these men are they're emotionally stunted. They're almost like children. They're a whim to their emotions. They feel anger, they express it. Their sadness, they cry. They break down all the time. They can't control themselves. The external factors are affecting their moods. They're internal, they're external so much. They haven't learned to discipline themselves. Because you'll never control emotions to the point of not having them. Emotions come before the conscious thoughts you have. You can't stop emotions. You get the emotional feeling will come up. But the more you train yourself, the more you practice, you'll realize the conscious thought will come in very quickly. And you won't have this reaction, this emotional reaction. You can control yourself, you can look calm, and you'll eventually, as you stay calm, you'll make clearer decisions. You'll be able to think your way out of these scenarios, this stressful situation that's causing you all this duress. You're able to think your way out of it better. And like I said, you get better at understanding your emotions and when to express them. And say, maybe something's too much is too much. And this is completely understandable. You know what? I'm going to express myself now, and I don't care. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it out. But very often, the better you get at expressing emotions, the time passes. And then it's a good time to talk about it down the line. Once that bad situation has happened, you can talk about it and assess it after it's happened with a clearer frame of mind. And you can get it off your chest further down the line. And I think more and more men need to practice this. It's vital. It's changed my life in a big way. I was very much a whim to my emotions and expressing them and releasing my stress and burdening everyone with how I felt and my negativity. Learning to control that. I trust myself and other people trust me more. They know in stressful situations, they can rely on me more now. Whereas before it wasn't so much the case. I'd love to hear your stories. Love to hear what situations you had when emotions got too much and expressing yourself was the negative and maybe it was a positive. And controlling yourself, how did that benefit you? Get commenting. What do you think, guys? You know, should we just be our whim to our emotions and expressing them all like society teaches us? Or is it better for us? Do we accomplish more? Do we feel better about ourselves when we overcome and when we stay calm and stoic and face the problems head on? That's what I think we do. I think that's better for us. I'd love to hear your thoughts, all right? Guys, join me for the next video. I'm changing things up here. I'm going from 3 videos a week to 1 video a week now. I want the quality better, more time into creating better videos instead of trying to rush out 2 or 3 videos a week. I want to make better quality videos once a week, you know, more filming going on, better editing and so on. I hope the quality improves and yeah, more growth on the channel. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Join me back for the next video and embrace the struggle.